Yeah, we're not doctors or giving any medical advice. This show is intended for educational purposes only, and you should talk to your doctor about any medical issues. Now, let's get at it.
Welcome to Chat the Fat, where nutrition authors Nissa Graun and TC Hale are going to break down common low-carb mistakes. Let's chat all things low-carb, keto, digestion, and more so you can maximize your results.
Welcome to Chat the Fat. Today I am chatting with Suzanne Johnson, who is a 48-year-old mother of 4, and she began keto all the way back in June of 2018, and since then she is down an amazing 65 pounds in less than a year. So Suzanne was a yo-yo dieter since she was a teenager, and she tried everything from taking laxatives in college, Dexatrim, Weight Watchers, low-fat, low-calorie, and even liquid diets. Like a lot of yo-yo dieters, if you can name a trendy diet, she's tried it. Suzanne even had her gallbladder removed a few years ago, but she decided to move forward onto a high-fat keto plan. She found my Coach Me course and my Big Fat Life Transformation book, which then led her to TC Hale, where she took the digestion course and enrolled in the Keto Decoded membership. These courses helped her learn how to test for chemistry imbalances she needed to improve in order to balance her body. She also began digestive supplements to make the weight loss process even easier by improving her digestive symptoms. So, welcome, Suzanne, to Chat the Fat.
Hi, thank you.
Sure, it is good to have you, and I'm really excited to talk to you. I don't know if it's all yo-yo dieter stories are the same, but your story sounds a lot like mine, so I know we'll have a lot of things to talk about. So tell me a little bit about your life before you found keto. Did you struggle with weight loss for a long time before keto?
Yes, a lot. I would find a diet, it would work, but then I would always put the weight back on plus some. So it was just, it kind of got to be like, well, I think this is just my life. This is just what I'm supposed to be. I'm just supposed to be overweight. And, I was just kind of stuck. And then heard about keto a little bit and then found you and started reading and researching. And then I just decided my coworker, she came back from the doctor and they told her that she had to go on a low carb diet. So I was like, okay, this is perfect. We'll do it together and I'll have a buddy and I won't have to be by myself. And we've done it ever since.
That's awesome. Is your coworker still following it as well?
Not as strict, but she is for the most part, yeah.
That's good. And so I mentioned that you were a yo-yo dieter since you were a teenager. What other diets have you attempted before you found keto?
Oh gosh. Weight Watchers, done that a few times.
Me too.
Physician's Choice, which is the liquid diet, which I lost, I think maybe 40 pounds on that, but obviously when you start eating, you're going to gain it all back. Laxatives in college, Dexatrim. I didn't do Jenny Craig, but like low calorie, low fat, all that craziness.
Yeah, that's basically Jenny Craig, low calorie, low fat, just in boxed food form.
Right.
And all like the lean cuisines and things like that, then you pretty much done Jenny Craig.
Yes.
And how were those experiences with the other diets?
I was starving. I was miserable. And it wasn't fun. I didn't feel healthy. I still had stomach issues. The main thing was just feeling like crap all the time and still being hungry, but knowing you couldn't eat because you were going to gain the weight and you wouldn't lose it.
Yeah, exactly. And so now you have been following a keto lifestyle since around June of 2018. Now, what made you decide to try it out? I know you said that your coworker was into it. Was that the only factor or were there other reasons?
I had been researching a little bit and I was just kind of curious about it, and it sounded like it was working for people. And I was already getting into like whole foods to begin with and getting away from the processed stuff. So it was just seemed like a gradual thing to start doing that. And I really dreaded it because I really liked pasta. I really liked garlic bread, pizza, all that stuff. But I mean, and it was hard at first. I'm not going to lie and say that it wasn't, but I think maybe 2 to 3 weeks into it, then I was okay.
So I'm actually with you with the garlic bread and the pasta. I don't know if you know this, but when I was younger, I worked at this place called the Spaghetti Shop, which had amazing garlic bread and pasta. And the one that I worked at went out of business, but your sister-in-law, her mother would actually bring up some spaghetti shop because you guys had one by you. So she would bring to college the garlic bread, which I love.
That's funny.
Yeah, so I'm definitely on board with the garlic bread, but now we can kind of make a garlic keto bread.
Yeah, and it is really good.
Yeah, and we also have spaghetti squash for pasta is good, or zoodle. So we have options on keto.
We do. And my girls actually even prefer, I have teenage girls, and they prefer, I have the fathead pizza recipe,
Yeah,
and they love it.
that's amazing. I wish that
Yeah,
I had known more about real food when I was a teenager, because it would have saved me years and years of struggle.
I know. Same here.
But back then it was all about the boxed food, processed food, because you wanted calories low, and it was so easy to count calories when you're looking at a box. But
Yes.
that didn't do much. So a lot of people, when they start keto, they ease into the lifestyle with a low carb plan first. Did you start out low carb and eventually move on to keto, or did you just dive right in and go straight to keto?
I just dove right in.
Okay. And were you dealing with any digestive issues at the time that we talk about?
I didn't think I was, but I was.
Yeah, I was the same way, where I had no idea, but then I read the book, Kick Your Fat in the Nuts, and I was pretty much dealing with them all. So what were some of the steps that you followed to help improve those while adjusting to a keto plan?
I didn't start the supplements probably for maybe a month after I had done keto. So I was actually through the worst of that. But let's see, ox bile was one of them I took. I've not done the HCL. I haven't had to do that. The digestozyme, I think, is one of them. And what was the other one?
The beet flow?
Yes, that one.
Okay, so, and we'll talk about, well, we already talked about this. So the ox bile, for people that don't remember, is because you don't have a gallbladder. So that is helping you with bile, since once you remove your gallbladder, you're removing the main storage area for bile. So that obviously I can see how that helped you. And that's pretty good that, after years of yo-yo dieting, that you haven't had to take the HCL, because I find a lot of people that get stuck and like the processed foods, or, if you do a lot of over-the-counter medications, definitely need that. So that's pretty impressive that you did not.
Yeah, it is. I was surprised. I always just grew up just thinking I had my dad's stomach because he had the same issues that I've had,
Yeah.
but I didn't really realize it was digestive issues. But yeah, so now I'm all good.
So when you started the supplements, did you see improvements right away, or did it take some time before you realized that the supplements were working for you and that balancing your chemistry was helping you?
It took a little bit. I would, again, probably a couple, 2 to 3 weeks before I really noticed anything. But then, yeah.
I don't even think 2 to 3 weeks is that long to notice, because for me, I took them as a Hail Mary, and it was probably like 3 to 4 months before I actually realized their true value. I was losing weight, but as far as like correcting some health issues that I had, I just woke up one day and all of a sudden, like, all of these health issues that I had for so long were just gone.
Yeah. And I couldn't really tell if it was like the keto or the supplements. I didn't care. I was just going to keep going because whatever I was doing was working. So
yeah, the Kick Your Fat in the Nuts book told me that all of these symptoms would be gone if I took the supplements, but I didn't believe that.
No.
In the dieting world for so long, you tend not to believe a lot of what you read. You just kind of do it and hope for the best.
Exactly.
So are there any digestive issues that you're still working on?
A little bit of constipation, but not near like it was.
Okay, that's good. That is one sign for HCL, but if you don't have the other symptoms, you could just add in a little apple cider vinegar, and that might be enough to help you.
Okay.
So when you did become keto, what did that look like for you? Were you counting carbs, protein, and fat precisely to your macros, or were you following more of a lazy keto approach?
I was following the macros. Actually, you sent me, we went back and forth a little bit, and then I started counting the macros that way. But I also am still struggling to this day with artificial sweeteners. So that is where I consider myself lazy keto.
Okay. But with the macros, was that hard for you to learn how to count them and to learn which foods fit into those?
It was a little bit, and but once you start keeping track of it, I think you just kind of get used to it. Then your body knows what it needs, I guess.
Yeah, just
So it kind of, yeah.
like nature.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the sweeteners, I think a lot of people struggle with that because, I mean, if you buy any food right now, it's all sweetened. Even bacon is sweetened.
I know.
Sweeten, it's not a sweet food, but they add sweeteners to pretty much everything. So that's definitely one of the hardest things to come off of. I mean, I personally just started weaning myself off, like adding a little bit less, and that's what helped me. But obviously, you're still on sweeteners and you're still seeing great success. So you're obviously doing something right.
Right. It's slowed down, but it's still continuing. So
as you get closer to your goal, it's definitely going to go slower. And at some point, you might even hit a stall because a lot of people find like when they're in the last 10 to 15 pounds that it goes pretty slowly.
it is, yes.
Yeah. So when you transitioned so you went basically from the standard American diet over to keto, was that difficult for you?
Yes, it was.
So what was so difficult about it?
Well, mainly, I mean, it seemed like we had pasta almost every meal looking back, and I didn't think we had it so much, but we really did if it was, or starchy foods. So giving all that up cold turkey was hard. And I had what they call keto flu. I probably had it for 3 days. I just felt literally like I had the flu. I was pretty sick. I wish I'd have found your book and all that stuff before, then I could have avoided all that. But I mean, I survived, but it was rough 3 days.
Yeah. Well, 3 days isn't that long because I've heard of people having keto flu for up to 3 weeks or even, longer if they're not doing the right thing. So 3 days, not that it's fun, but it's thankfully not that long.
Right. And my coworker was going through the same thing. So we were both miserable at the same time.
Yeah, I guess. Nice company. And
right.
Did you face any hurdles when you were transitioning or was it easy? I know you said like beyond the keto flu, like was transitioning your foods from mostly pasta over to foods that was, more based on fat and some protein. Was that difficult to learn that?
It was, and not really the protein, but the fats. It was a little difficult too, because I just wasn't sure which fats were healthy or, which ones you were supposed to be eating or whatever. So that's when the macros helped.
So what kind of fat, since it is such a difficult transition for some people, because, we go from the 80s where we're told fat is bad, don't eat any fat. And like, now people are coming around, but I think there's still so much misinformation about which fats to eat. When you started keto, what kind of fats were you focusing on? What kind of food?
Well, for starters, I always use vegetable oil. Then we switched over to canola oil because that's what we were told that was the right thing to do. So I got rid of all that, switched over to coconut oil, and then olive oil. So that's all I use now. I was surprised you could eat cream cheese. That was exciting. Heavy cream, things that was taboo. I was like, okay, I can have that. So, and sour cream, just butter, real butter, which I'd already used real butter. I'd been using real butter for a long time.
That's good. When you switched over from like the canola oils, just even saying the canola oil just kind of makes me cringe a little bit because it's still up on the like American Heart Association as the healthy option, and it's just not. But once you switched over from canola oil to coconut oil, was that a big change? Because I know like a lot of people struggle with coconut oil because they're not used to eating it. So maybe they don't like the taste of it and they don't like all their food tasting like coconut oil. How was that transition?
It wasn't bad for me. I didn't really notice a big taste. difference. But I guess like cooking vegetables and stuff, I would just use butter instead of the coconut oil. But then I started eating fat bombs, making those. And then when I first started doing the fat bombs, and the coconut oil was pretty strong, and it was just had a different texture in your mouth, I guess. But I'm used to that now. But at first it was just, I don't know if heavy is the right word. It's just a different texture.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I didn't really have a problem switching over to coconut oil either, but like before I started working on my digestion and doing all these things, like I'd never had coconut oil before. I know they actually used to use it in movie theaters to cook popcorn in. So when I was still eating low carb, I switched over to coconut oil and butter with popcorn, and that was pretty delicious. So I'm
Yeah.
to get interested in recipes.
Right.
I won't lie. Sometimes I still eat that as a snack, but only when my kids want it. Only if I have the carbs. All right. So some people struggle with weight loss and with sticking with low carb or keto at the beginning. How was your progress when you first began? Like, did you start to lose weight right away, or did it take some time to start losing weight?
I actually lost weight right away, and it just kept coming off, and probably 2 to 3 pounds a week. And then it kind of slowed down, and then it would speed back up. It was just kind of, I think it just depended on what I was eating, really. And I could tell a huge difference when I wasn't keeping complete track of my macros. It would slow down.
So in your experience, was it pretty steady, like week after week, or you said it like fluctuated up one week and then maybe not so much the next week? Was that kind of the pattern it followed?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think a lot of people go into keto just expecting like 5 pounds lost each and every week, week after week, and it's not that way.
No, definitely not.
So we had talked about you experienced keto flu for 3 days, which again, I don't think that is that bad. What steps did you take to transition through that stage?
Um, I just kept going.
So you weren't adding like electrolytes or more fat or anything like that?
No, because I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah, I think
So
it's hard with keto, like with going into it, you want to get the results, but if you don't do all the research, then you can get stuck in that keto flu and be miserable.
Yep.
That's what all the big experts that are anti-keto warn you about. They tell you to stay away because of the keto flu, but like you said, it lasted for 3 days, and now here you are not even a year later with improved health, and you're down 65 pounds. So if you had listened to them and you avoided keto because of those 3 days of suffering, then you wouldn't be where you are today. So don't listen to those experts.
Exactly. Do not.
So you've been following this lifestyle for almost a year. What motivated you to stick with it at the beginning, especially like when you were feeling miserable or when you were having difficulty switching over from the standard American diet?
I just knew I wanted to eat more healthy. So I knew once I could get basically all the crap out of my system, I had to feel better at some point.
Yeah. And now it's a year later. What is motivating you to still stick with it for a year?
My health has improved. Went to the doctor and did all the blood work, and everything is great. Everything is right where it's supposed to be. I don't have stomach issues like I had. I have so much energy all day long, that's huge, because about 2 o'clock every day I would just crash.
Yeah.
And the weight just keeps coming off. And now I ran like a couple of years ago, and then I got hurt, so I stopped doing that, and then I gained weight, and just I didn't feel like doing it, so now I'm back to doing that, and that helps a lot.
All right. So I'm not going to lie. You are actually making keto sound really easy. So anyone who is thinking about switching over, they're probably like, yes, I'm going to switch over tomorrow and go through my keto flu, suck it up, and then, have smooth sailing. But were there any times throughout that maybe you struggled to stick with the lifestyle over the past year?
Oh yeah, there's definitely been, especially on the weekends. Everybody, like if we'll go out to eat or if we go to the movies, and I will eat popcorn at the movies because I can't not. I just can't. And but it hasn't affected, but I don't do that very often. And if we go out to eat, I don't know, I just make better choices because I know if I eat the junk that's going to make me feel like crap, I'm going to feel like terrible. And it's not worth it.
So hopefully you're not like my husband, because my husband sometimes takes my 5-year-old to the movies, and my 5-year-old totally called him out and said that they shared a large popcorn. My husband's insisting that it's not the truth, but I can see him in the movies maybe splitting a small popcorn, but no, he got called out for the large one.
I try not to, but popcorn is a weakness of mine.
Yeah, me too. I think back in the low calorie days, I ate popcorn pretty much every night because you could eat a lot of it for lower calories. So I was, and back then it was microwave popcorn, which we found out is absolutely one of the worst things you can eat for your health.
Yes.
So if I eat popcorn, it's definitely air popped in, I don't know if it's air popped, but it's popped in coconut oil and butter. And it's so much more delicious, and there are more calories, but it's calories from healthy fats. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah. And I don't go to the movies all the time.
Yeah, I'm not a big movie fan. I don't like, it's too cold, and I don't
Yeah.
know everything. So I know that you also added intermittent fasting to your plan at some point. So when did you add this, and how did you begin?
I added that. It's been a few months ago, maybe 6 months ago. And I just started by not eating anything after 5. And I think it was because I was fat adapted that it was okay. And I didn't, and really at that time, the girls were involved in sports. So they always had a game. So by the time we got home, it was well after 8, 9 o'clock, and I didn't want to eat then anyway. So it just kind of worked. Just don't eat after 5. And I didn't miss dinner. And then sometimes I would get up and eat breakfast, but then I just kept pushing it back. So now I'm pretty much at a 16-8 type fast now. And I usually do that anywhere from 3 to 5 days a week.
And so how long did it take for you to work up to that 16-8 schedule?
Maybe a month.
Okay, so not too long.
No.
That's pretty good. And do you ever try to fast further than that, or do you find that 16-8 just seems to be your sweet spot?
I'm actually in the middle of a 24-hour one right now. I've not gotten past 24 hours, but I'm getting there.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I used to do a few 24-hour fasts each week, but now I just prefer the daily fast. And I think the longest I've gone is like 46 hours or something like that, but I've only done it once, and I don't know that I'd want to do it again.
I know these people that do it longer. I don't really have a desire to go that long.
Yeah, my husband has gone, I think, 3 days, and I have a cousin by marriage that used to do like 5 days each week, which
Oh my gosh.
I like to eat.
I do too.
So it's just even like a mental thing. Even if physically I don't feel hungry, it's mentally I want to relax and have a meal.
Yes, exactly. And it really isn't a physical thing because I don't get hungry. I'm just like, those almonds look really good or whatever.
So do you think since you added the intermittent fasting, has it really stepped up your results?
Yes, because I did plateau for a while. I just didn't lose. And I thought, what am I doing? So that's when I actually started the intermittent fasting, and it started coming off again.
That's awesome. And so during your fasted hours, so your 16 hours that you're fasting, what do you drink anything in that?
Really just water. Sometimes I'll drink green tea and black coffee, which is it was really, really hard to do because I like my artificial sweeteners in my coffee and my cream, but yeah. And then sometimes we'll drink the ketones, the Prove It ketones every now and then, but I don't do that every day.
Okay. And we are going to talk about those in just a minute, but so yeah, I know a lot of people want to add artificial sweeteners or even some fat to their coffee during their fasting time because they think that it makes it easier, but we found that it just makes it so much harder, and it can even stall a lot of people's weight loss. So I'm happy to hear that you're not doing that. Some people insist it works for them. And if it does, I'm all for doing whatever works for you and what makes you feel good. I just haven't seen really great results for most people for that.
Right.
So since you are down around 65 pounds in, whatever it's been 10 or 11 months, that almost equates to somewhere around a little over 1 pound per week, which I personally believe is typical for results that are going to last long term. Now, was this loss linear for you, where you consistently lost 1 pound on the scale each week, or did it fluctuate?
It fluctuated.
Okay, so like sometimes you'd lose a few pounds and sometimes you would lose 1 pound. Were there any weeks that you didn't lose any pounds?
Yep, a lot.
You didn't want to give up those weeks?
I did not.
Now me screaming.
I wasn't gaining. Right. I wasn't gaining, and I still felt good, so I was okay. And my clothes still kept getting looser. So that was more motivation than the scale, really.
So even though the scale wasn't moving, you could still feel the fat loss in your clothes?
Yes, definitely.
That's awesome. Because I know I coach a lot of people, and they're all happy when they're losing, 2-3 pounds a week. But that first week that they don't lose anything, or if they only lose half a pound, I usually get an email like, what's going on? Why did this stop working? So I think you definitely prove that patience is necessary, and that it's not always going to be 1 pound each week or 2 pounds each week, and it's going to fluctuate. But like you, as long as you're feeling the difference in your clothing, then you're doing something right.
Yep.
So were there times throughout this past year that you consider that you experienced any weight loss stalls?
Yes, a few times.
And what do you consider a weight loss stall? Because everyone considers something different.
Where you just don't lose at all.
A week or 2 weeks, or how long?
Maybe 2 weeks. I think there was a time where it was like 3 weeks, and that's when I started the fasting.
Okay. And so that's how you broke your weight loss stall, was to add in intermittent fasting?
Yes.
And do you have any other tips to help someone break a stall?
Other than that, and just keeping really track of your macros, sometimes I would have to lower my carbs. I'm usually at 20 a day, and then I would just kind of drop them to like 18 or 16 just for a few days, and that seemed to help too.
And I'll be honest, there's a lot of people out there who might come into a weight loss stall and then they get frustrated. They say keto doesn't work, and they are on to the next bigger and better diet plan that, maybe someone else lost a lot of weight on. So what motivated you to get through those weight loss stalls?
Again, just nothing has ever made me feel as good as keto does.
That's awesome. And so since you're a mom, tell me how your keto lifestyle affects your family. So you said that they like the veggie pasta in place of pasta. How else has it changed your family life?
We eat a lot more real food. I don't buy hardly any processed food. The girls get a little mad when we don't have chips around, but they're getting a lot better, and they've kind of started cooking too, and they're 13 and 16. So they like salmon, they like broccoli, they like asparagus. They even like parsnips, which I fooled them. One time they thought they were potatoes, and then I waited until they were done, and then I told them what it was. So now they like those.
Did you make the mashed potatoes, or did you make them another way?
I put them with the balsamic roast.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I've actually tried radishes before too, and those kind of taste like potatoes with the roast.
That would probably be good. I should try that.
Yeah, but I love parsnips too. I actually never tried them. I just heard of them. I don't even think I knew what they look like. And so I tried cooking them in butter. And the first time I was like, kind of tastes like a mix between a carrot and a potato. And I wasn't so sure about it. And then by the third week, I wanted them all the time. I thought they were delicious.
Yeah, you're the one that got me to try them. I'm like, well, if she can do them, then I can do them.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what they were either. But we have Kroger click and pick up. And because I thought, I'm going to go there and I'm not even going to know what they look like. So I'm just going to have them get it, and then I'll know.
Yeah, I'm a very picky eater. So if I find a food that I can eat, then I think anyone can do it.
Yep. Yep. They're good.
So let's talk about what are some of your biggest non-scale victories while following keto?
Definitely clothes fitting better. And just 2 weeks ago, I got into a pair of my gold jeans.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
that was really exciting. So,
How long were
and
you trying to get into those? Like before you,
sorry,
pardon me?
what'd you say?
Oh, how long were you looking at those, trying to get into them?
Oh my gosh, at least a year.
Yeah.
Because actually, they were my daughter's jeans. She didn't want anymore, and I was like, I'm gonna get into those someday.
Awesome. You did it.
Yep.
So what other non-scale victories have you found?
Being able to start running again and not. I mean, I don't like love to run, but I can do it now without just like dying.
Yeah. It's probably like a lot of people talk about runner's high, and I think that comes from burning ketones because they burn through their glucose and then, they get to that ketogenic state where they feel like they have all this energy. So I bet running while you're already in a ketogenic state is even better.
Yeah, it is.
Um, so how have your macros changed since you started keto? Like, were you super strict before and now you don't monitor as much, or are you still super strict?
I'm not super strict. I probably should be, but I got kind of lazy. But I feel like I just kind of know after being strict as long as I was, I just kind of know how much I can eat that way. And the fasting, you don't have to really worry too much about it because I only eat one meal a day. And it's a smaller meal because when you're fasting, you feel like you're starving by the time you're done with your fast, and then you eat and you're full after a few bites. So
Yeah. Do you just eat like one meal a day every day and that's it, or do you eat one meal and with some snacks in between?
yes, some like almonds. Sometimes I will eat the keto bars, and then fat bombs is mainly my mainly my meal.
Which one's your favorite fat bomb?
I like the almond butter ones.
I just posted a new one today. Almond butter joys, really good.
Oh, I'll have to try those.
They can replace your the keto bars that you talked about because they're a thicker fat bomb, but they're really delicious. So yeah, definitely try those.
I will.
So how has your life changed from this time last year?
Oh gosh, more energy. I'm more confident in myself, and really more happy. And I'm sure it just has to do with how I feel, healthy wise.
Yeah, and you're setting a great example for your kids, which I definitely wish
Yeah.
I had that one. I mean, not that my mom was, a bad eater when I was younger, but we always had a lot of processed foods, and I had brothers that I had to get to the processed junk food before they did. So I always end up eating all the junk food. So I kind of wish that we had more of a keto household.
Oh yeah, definitely. Me too.
So now that you're getting closer to your goal, how do you see your life once you hit your goal? Like, do you plan to add carbs back in, or do you just plan to keep eating the same way?
I plan to keep on eating the same way. I may not watch it as close, but I don't want to go back to eating processed foods. I don't want to go back to eating all the carbs because they're just, I don't know. I don't like how I feel when I eat them.
Yeah, that's great. And that's a great mindset to have because I think, anyone who goes into this thinking that, okay, I'm eating junk food on the standard American diet, I'm going to lose the weight, and then I'm going to go back to eating the same food, like it's really counterproductive because they're just going to end up back in the same place, probably gain more weight, and then say that keto doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I always tell the girls, it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle. So, and that's how we're living it.
So do you have any thoughts or recommendations for someone listening to this that, maybe they're thinking about changing their lifestyle, but, they're not really sure how to proceed, or maybe they're just at the beginning? Do you have any words of inspiration to help them keep going?
Research.
Research.
read the books, listen to the podcasts, watch the videos. I've kind of felt like I've gone back to school this past year. I've learned so much about just body chemistry and imbalances, and I can't even begin to tell you how much I've learned. And I just keep learning it more and more every day.
So a lot of people, because obviously I post a lot about the digestion and the chemistry and all of that, because I think it's important, because before I found the information, I never had long-term success. I would lose weight, gain it back, and keep following that. So once I found that information and I found that it's worked long-term, obviously I share it. But I do see some skeptics when I share it. So, they say like, oh, you don't need all that chemistry stuff. You don't need to improve your digestion. You just need to eat keto. Do you think if you were just eating keto and you didn't take any of that other stuff into account, do you think you'd have the same success today?
I don't think so, no.
No.
I just totally believe in it because of just how it made me feel. I feel like I can digest things a whole lot better. Because I watch people too that say that stuff, and then they're usually the ones that come back and say that they're either not losing, or they feel bad, or they don't have the energy, or they have stomach issues or whatever.
Yeah, it's hard to follow a high-fat diet if you're having stomach issues, which is most likely caused by not digesting fat well. So if you're, the main macro you're supposed to eat, if you can't digest it, how are you supposed to succeed?
Yes, for sure.
There's still just a lot of people that say, you don't need it, just follow keto.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
There's more than one of us. So do you have any favorite keto products that you like to use?
Like I said, the Prove It drinks, they're just, you drink ketones, you just add it to your bottle of water. I'll do that every now and then. And the keto bars, I think it's Perfect Keto.
Okay.
And sometimes I'll drink the collagen. I'll add that to my bulletproof coffee in the mornings too. I need to do that more often. That's really all the products though that I tried Quest chips. I don't know if you've tried those.
Yeah, I tried them one time on an airplane.
They're okay. It's not something I buy on a regular basis. I've tried them okay, but I guess if you're really craving chips, which that's another thing, I don't really crave things anymore. So I saw them and I thought, well, I'll try those. They're not the greatest.
Typically do a product review, and I forgot to grab the product. So you said that you sometimes use the Prove It, which I have a pack right here. Is this the one that you use, or is it different?
It is this one, but it's the same brand.
Okay, same brand. I think I actually never took these, but my husband used to take them a while back. So how do you feel when you take them, or what do you think that it does for you?
It curbs my appetite and gives me energy.
And so do you take these when you're fasted, or do you take it like in the middle of the day?
I usually try to take them about 1 to 2 p.m. on days that I'm fasting.
Okay. Excuse me. So like I said, I've never tried this brand. I have done the Perfect Keto ketones. For me personally, because I wanted to take them while I was fasted, so like my workout would feel more ramped up. I'd have more energy for my workout. And for a while I thought they were working for me, but then I noticed, because they have artificial sweeteners in it, so like this one has stevia, that was affecting my fast, like personally. So I pretty much stopped taking them because I just stopped using artificial sweeteners. But a lot of people still swear by them, so I'm not going to say that they're bad or don't use them. I think it's very individual. And there's a lot of information out there that is conflicting. So I think if you like them and you like the way they feel, then keto on. That's what people say. Okay. That is our product review. So thanks so much for chatting with me today. I think you have a great story that is going to inspire so many who have thought about this lifestyle but haven't followed through, or even those who have tried out this lifestyle, but maybe they haven't gotten the results that they wanted. And I think just like you, I put in time to do the research and learn about my body, including how to improve digestion and chemistry imbalance. And just like you, I saw success which is way more success than I've ever seen with losing a substantial amount of weight and finally keeping it off. So I really think you're on the right track to finally get off that yo-yo roller coaster for good. So congratulations to you.
Thank you.
And definitely thank you so much for helping spread the word that a high-fat keto diet can work, and it can get you off that diet roller coaster as long as you go into it with knowledge and patience. And I really think that your story shows both of those attributes. So I really think that's important for success. So I'm so glad that you got the knowledge and you were patient. And I think this is a great interview that will help people.
I hope so.
Did you have any last words to say?
I do not.
Okay. Well, thanks for chatting, and I will see you in the Keto Decoded support group.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, I guess that. All right. Yeah, so we're good. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Whether you're brand new to keto or just looking to move past roadblocks, join us for our next Troubleshooting Keto Master Workshop. Go to chatthefat.com/workshop to find upcoming dates and register for this totally free event. You just might find your missing piece of the puzzle. Until then, we'll see you next week on Chat the Fat.